in the midst of our biggest information revolution, probably since the printing press, and yet we're seeing a total breakdown of how the media is going to be able to cover these events. I think that efforts that focus on hyperlocal news gathering and citizen reporting are going to be moving into this space, but I think they really need to learn from the lessons of vetting and news gathering and holding all reporters to high standards that we can learn from the traditional media. So I think that there's a middle ground there, definitely. What I think the best thing that platforms and efforts like GroundReport have to offer is we show what can be achieved when you really cut costs, when you really remove all of the bloat and you're able to just get rid of the overhead and focus on people who are already there. So we have an incredibly lean, efficient, economical model that way that in fact is paying for itself right now, and we hope to just scale that up. And I think that if we can begin to build models that start with taking advantage of the incredible resources of millions of people around the world with all of this power, we can start to build a model that will make sense. I think that GroundReport's revenue share system in many ways is modeled on the way that microfinance works, and that is we're rewarding people based on the fruits of their labor, and hopefully they can invest that further. And often people will, or contributors will write to me and say, you know, I got this funding, I was able to get, you know, a better mobile phone, or I was able to get a better computer, and now we're going to create better reports, and they're very, very passionate about it. So it's something that is important on so many different levels, and not even just in the developing world. People are so amazed to be paid for their work, especially since the rule online is so often that sites expect you to just give the content that you're creating to them for free while they build a business model off of it. Well, we didn't think that was really fair. We also thought the best way to attract the people who are creating the best content online, which is a very, very small percentage of the people who are engaging online, is to reward them for what they're doing. I think it's certainly true that when you're looking at the digital format, we have just begun to explore its potential. I mean, we're still sort of recreating newspapers on websites, and that's not really what it's built for. I think a couple of the biggest areas for innovation are, again, Twitter, which allows for the most immediate, fast-paced, real-time news updates. It's a tool that I use all the time in GroundReport to stay in the loop on what the most recent breaking news is. You can often get updates there before you can get on any major news website, but also to recruit reporters who happen to be at those locations. It allows for really fast interactions and iterations there. On the flip side, there's no vetting and there's no filtering of that sort in terms of integrity, especially when you're dealing with sources you don't know on Twitter. So that's one problem. The other spaces is when you start to get into these new forms of media. So we've already seen some really great innovation with photos and photography online. I think where there's some of the next steps will be with live streaming video. GroundReport TV launched its channel a couple of years ago, actually, on the Mogulus platform, and it allows us to basically cover live events with video using just an internet connection and a laptop, as well as, say, a huge Fox satellite truck that's costs, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And that's what we did this past weekend at the NASA shuttle launch, for instance. The thing that we have to wait for there is for the 3G network that's necessary for all of our mobile devices to be able to send information that quickly. And it's also still a technology that is limited to people who have access to the internet in general. So those are a couple of the places. But when you look at things like the Nokia, you know, N95s and later models, which can allow you to stream video straight from your phone to a website, it's pretty incredible what the potential of that could be for a citizen-powered 24/7 news channel. Well, we certainly want to serve what people are really interested in. And clearly, the global news category is much smaller than people are interested in sort of, you know, entertainment news. But that's also a very, very crowded field. I mean, there are millions of players in that field that are trying to exploit that. It's something that, with the right tone, we would accept on GroundReport, but we're pretty focused on just building up our brand. I mean, starting any kind of internet company, it's so difficult to define what you're looking for. In the beginning on GroundReport, anything was allowed. People could post any kind of content, and after a while, it started to dissolve what the brand was really about. So we need to stand behind that and say, okay, we're about sophisticated global reporting from professionals or vetted by professionals or some combination of the two. What we are starting to do is to expand into specific verticals. So we might not do entertainment just yet, but we might do something related to gender issues, or we might start to do something related to travel. And this also has to do with some of the sponsors who are interested in getting involved with our work. And we're definitely going in those directions. And we're looking to be a little bit more niche, a little bit more granular in those spaces, but still keep our general structure.